So we already have some participants. Let's wait for 1 minute and then get started. Hey. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the 2022 LD4 Conference on Linking Global Knowledge. I'm Greta Hung, the facilitator for this session. Find WorldCat entities to improve resource discoverability through connections, presented by Annie Washington. We will have a Q&A session after Annie's lightning talk. Before we get started, please be noted that this session is being live streamed to the LD4 YouTube channel and will be recorded and saved on YouTube for future viewing. I want to take a moment to highlight a few items that are on the screen. We encourage you to take a look at the conference website for information on more sessions, as well as the conference code of conduct. We're using the hashtag LD4 2022 on Twitter, so taking advantage of that. Please use the Slack invite link that you can see there to join Slack, as there will be a way for you to continue conversation from sessions in another venue. We also offer tech support by a specific channel on Slack for your conference technology assistance. If you have technical difficulties during the session, please let us know by putting in the chat or asking for help in Slack. During this session, you can also ask your questions in the Zoom chat area or Q&A area, and that some of them may be answered along the way. But otherwise, they will be answered at the end of the Q&A session. So that's my beginning housekeeping. And now let me introduce our presenter, Annie Washington. She is a product analyst on the metadata services team at OCLC, focusing on linked data applications. She previously worked as a metadata librarian at the University of Houston and the University of Virginia. Annie, please take it over. I'll stop sharing.
Okay. Let me see, screen 1. Okay, I think we're not on my slides. How about now? Can you see my slides? All right, so my internet is a little spotty right now. I'm on a hotspot, so if things go really south quickly, then I will record something to post. Okay, great. So, all right, so thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here today to talk about the WorldCat Entities project. We are building on a really long history that OCLC has of working on linked data projects. I'm going to click through this animation really quickly. But over the past decade, we've been involved in a number of research projects and pilots. We've worked side by side with libraries and learned a great deal about what's needed by libraries when it comes to linked data. We've also, over the past few years, been working on with partners on the next generation of metadata, so that landscape. And that involves both technological and social infrastructures that inform and shape new metadata opportunities. Karen Smith Yoshimura, in the 2020 Transitioning to the Next Generation of Metadata report, which I can post to Slack later, she organized some areas of effort, challenge, and opportunity, and that includes the transition to identifiers and the transition to linked data. So kind of situating our work for WorldCat entities in that context, we're starting to build that infrastructure and scale to support these, the next generation of metadata. Briefly, we've presented on the progress of our project over the past couple of LD4 sessions, and this is building off of the shared entity management infrastructure project that was funded in part by a grant from the Mellon Foundation, with goals of establishing an entity, a shared entity management infrastructure to support the library community. You can read more about that at oc.lc/entities press release. But now I want to get into our results. So I get to speak, but I'm representing the work of my team members at OCLC and the contribution of our wonderful advisory group members. We engaged a group of over 20 libraries across type, size, and geography to help us as we went along the way. They provided insight on data, interface, use cases, and worked with us over the 2 years that included a global pandemic. So we really thank them for their contributions. And out of that, we launched the WorldCat Entities, which is more than 150 entities searchable publicly on our website at entities.oclc.org. We focused on descriptions of creative works and persons, and have permanent URIs that you can start to use in your metadata to connect them to this information. So now I'm going to be really daring and try a live demo, but I do have this also on my slides so we can see how this goes. Can you all see now my browser? Yes, okay, wonderful. All right, so when you go to entities.worldcat.org, you'll reach our landing page here. And I want to bring your attention also to some points at the bottom. We have an about page that just provides some basic context. We have a help page that will take you to our documentation. So that gives you a little bit more information on the properties used. And then we also provide the interface in 5 different languages. So English, French, Spanish, Dutch, and Dutch and German. And so I'm just going to walk you through a quick demo here and search for Amanda Gorman, the poet. And so you can get started right in the search box. On the search results page, you can do some different sorting. Can also filter here. I'm looking for the person. I want to talk through the person entity. So I would go navigate to the person and click into her entity description. Here you can see at the top of the page, we have a button to copy the URI, and this is that permanent URI that you can use in your metadata. In this key information section, we have all of the different languages and descriptions that can be used to, this enhances the searching within the system, and you can leverage this to show the different labels and descriptions in different languages. You can also use this navigation pane here on the left to see some of these different sections of information. For example, significant dates, names. We also have links to a variety of different identifiers that are associated with this entity and related places for Amanda. I'm going to show you quickly. So if you were to choose another language for your user interface, you can see here that the different user interface, the UI, labels, the navigation, things like that change, as well as the label in the for any related entities. You can also see, I'm going to scroll to the top, so get ready for a ride. We got the Spanish description information here. So that's some of the ways that changing the language works. I wanted to show you for person entities that you can, they're also related persons. So this is the entity for Bob Dylan, which has some influence by relationships and some parent-child relationships. For work entities, oh, am I going to be able to, there we go, get to that tab. There are some different properties that you'll see. So here in significant dates, we have creation date, which is more relevant to a work entity. We have the language of the work and the title, and also other sources if they're available. And then on the work entity, this will relate the person who is affiliated with the work, a contributor or creator. So I think that's it for my really quick demo. And let me see, what did I have here? Okay, so I'm going to go back to the slides quickly and jump through to the end. We're excited about our next steps. I see that the slide is loading, but I'm going to keep talking. This is really only the beginning. This WorldCat Entities forms the foundation and provides those millions of entities. We're building out the foundation for linked data infrastructure at scale. So our next steps include a development partner phase to refine OCLC Meridian, which is actually the interface that users would use to add, create, edit entities in that system. We have plans to add and update our entities as that graph continues to improve and grow. And we'll continue to collaborate with key libraries globally and explore how we can incorporate entities and this tool into different workflows. And we look forward to innovating together with the community. So I hope I stayed within my time. I think I saw a hand raised. You can contact me. I'll stick around for some questions and am available. This is the general link data at oclc.org address, but I'm also available in Slack space as well.
I think we got two questions. First question is there an easy way to see or search or access the actual RDF, for example, an API?
Okay, I think I'm just using this Q&A feature for the first time. So what was really great about the project is there was a focus on the API and the UI, and we learned from our users how important that UI was. But we did have a focus on supporting that search, create, edit, all of those functions through an API. And that's going to be through an authentication. So those will be part of what's available once that OCLC Meridian kind of suite is released.
Okay, so the next question, how do entities for people related to authority records found on VF?
So VF was the source data to kind of initially seed our entity data. And so we drew from the VF clusters and went out to some of those source data to help populate and kind of build the foundational entities in the system. As for going forward, we're looking forward to kind of exploring what the relationship looks like between the systems, but that's our current kind of relationship, is that seeding.
Thank you. We've also got a question in the chat. I don't see Wikidata in the external sources section of Amanda Gordon. Will Wikidata be included like it is on WorldCat Entities?
Let me see here. When you talk about the Wikidata, are you talking about like the Wikidata identifier or some additional information?
Rob, could you? Okay, Rob said, apologize. So the link to Wikidata is there.
Oh, okay. Yes. So that you have to page through, but that's good feedback to know that might not be the clearest. So yes, we've took the identifiers that we could, and now in a transforming metadata talk yesterday, there's now a Wikidata property for WorldCat entities. So we are going to explore more connections there.
I noticed that we're over time, and is it okay for you to answer 2 more questions?
Yep, I have time to stick around a bit if others.
So we've got a question from Emily. How are partner libraries being chosen? Is any preference given to WMS institutions?
Good question. So we had a number of libraries as part of our advisory group, and those, as well as conversations with folks, even just at ALA and throughout, our discussions of linked data, kind of our continuous work with libraries, we identified some different workflows that we think this tool and this data can support. And so we're looking across different folks that have partnered with us. Some WMS libraries, we really want to try and get kind of a cross section of size, type, geography, and the workflows that they could address. For example, we've had a lot of discussion around automation and integration with systems, and so that's one area of exploration.
Thank you. And one more question. As someone who uses LC-NNF, VF, Wikidata, etc. for authority work, is this just another option? I'm wondering how this differs.
Sure. So I'd say that this is a complement to LCNAF and VF. What we want to do, and again, this would be through our tool OCLC Meridian, is make that editing and creating aspect more accessible in terms of training and things like that. So that's kind of one of our main the main use cases for this. In terms of Wikidata, we want to be part of the ecosystem of linked data. So I think that what builds strength in the graph is having these different sources of data that we can pull together with identifiers. So it's important for us. We have been keeping in mind the different sort of complementary tools and communities.
Annie, I noticed that there are some comments in the chat as well. And there is one asking for a link. Could you please post here the link to OCLC Meridian?
Sure. So that's the tool that we're currently working with our partners to sort of confirm workflows and build out anything that we might identify as improving. So that hasn't yet been launched, and we'll share more kind of details as we're able.
Hey,
And
thank
then
you.
I see some notes here about other like translations, and I would say that the translations that we have, I think, may have come from Wikidata. So I appreciate you bringing that to our attention, and I'll certainly pass that along to the quality team as we have teams that kind of will constantly be evaluating and improving the graph.
Thank you, Annie.
And then I see a comment about the dates, and thank you for that comment. We did have, we should have that when the dates should match a localized version. So I think some other countries use periods or have different formatting of I think month, day, year. Yes. And that it localizes to your browser settings. But thank you for your feedback on that as well in terms of the ISO display.
Thank you, Annie. I think we have answered all the questions we have for today's session. And if you have further questions, you can ask your question in the Slack channel or reach out to Annie directly. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks so much. And please email us as you use the tool and have observations, feedback, questions. We're really excited to hear from you all as well. So thank you.